It's about to get really warm and hot in Montreal. I'm filming this during the month of May, and probably starting in June, things are going to get very, very hot over here. Nobody wants to walk around or work or do life sweating and in garments that stick to you, that don't breathe, that smell. So in today's video, I'm going to talk to you about my top 5 fabrics to sew with for the warm season. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Izzy, and this channel is all about sewing garments, quilts, bags. I love spending my time at the sewing machine. All right, so in the intro there, I almost said my 5 favorite fabrics to sew. But the bottom line is, one of them I like wearing, but I really don't love sewing with. So that's why I didn't say they were all my favorite fabrics to sew. But they're all my favorite fabrics to wear in the summer months. All right, let's begin with the first one. Now, by the way this video is going to be structured, I'm going to try to remember to put chapters and timestamps in the description box below so that you can jump around if you need to. For each fabric, I'm going to talk to you about the characteristics, so what it is, and the pros and cons of sewing with it, and then give you some inspiration in terms of patterns you can use with it, and show you some of the garments I've made with the fabric. So, like I said, timestamps, jump around as you need to. Number 1 on the list is linen. Most people, when they think of a summer fabric, think about linen. It's breathable, it's beautiful, it usually comes in a bunch of really nice colors, perfect for spring and summer. It is a natural fiber, which is amazing. It's made from the flax seed, I believe. It's just a no-brainer for summer. Now, the pros of using linen for summer garments is just that. It's a natural fiber, so it breathes. It's not going to stick to you. It lets air in and out. It is fabulous. It's also an incredibly strong fiber. I mean, mummies have been buried with linen wraps for thousands of years, and the linen is still on them. So it's basically an indestructible fabric. Yes, so the cons, however, is that linen wrinkles. It also tends to grow a little bit. So my personal experience is that when you make a garment that's a little bit fitted in a linen, as your body heat relaxes the fibers and as you wear this garment, it's gonna start to sag a little bit. It's gonna have that look that's not as crisp or as polished at the end of the day, based on my experience. Now, I really don't mind that anymore. I remember the first time I sewed with linen, I was like, okay, I don't love this. I have a saggy bum, saggy knees at the end of the day after sitting in my trousers all day. But I've gotten over myself now and really don't mind that. I also don't mind the wrinkles so much. So those are the pros and the cons. Now, linen, because of those pros and cons, linen for me is best for loose-fitting trousers, a nice oversized shirt, a relaxed fit shirt, a boxy tee, a tent-style dress if your linen has a tiny bit of drape to it, which the drapiness or the softness of linen increases as you wash it, which is amazing. So a brand new linen is going to feel a little more stiff or a little stiffer than a linen that's been washed a few times. So keep that in mind. Some pattern suggestions. I have used linen for some Cocoa wide leg pants by Pattern Emporium, and I love them. Some shorts, so I've used the Belize shorts by Itch to Stitch with linen, and they turned out really nice. And I'm thinking an Aria button-up shirt in a linen would also be really, really nice. I've not made a button-up shirt in a linen yet, but it will happen. So here is a picture of my Cocoa wide leg pants by Pattern Emporium. This is a medium weight linen I got at Core Fabrics here. And I made these pants to wear to Greece last summer. They were perfect. It was 40 degrees in Greece, and I wore those pants. They breathed, they were comfortable, they didn't stick to me. They were fabulous. So highly recommend a nice loose pair of summer trousers with linen. So that is linen. Let's move on to fabric number 2. Actually, before we move on to fabric number 2, here's a unsewn, uncut, but washed cut of linen from my stash. And although it is a little bit stiff, it's really not as stiff as it was when I first got it. So you can see here how drapey it's gotten, and it's only got washed once. So I've only washed this fabric once. So the more I wear the trousers I plan on making with this fabric, the softer they're gonna get, which is amazing. Also, linen is very, very easy to work with, so that's definitely one of the pros to working with linen. Fabric number 2 is rayon, as we call it here, and viscose, I believe, for people in the UK. So rayon is almost a natural fiber, but so it starts from a natural thing, cellulose from trees and pulp from trees. But then it goes through a chemical process that turns it into fabric. So it's not totally natural, but yeah, not quite as bad as polyester, for example, but not completely natural like linen is. Rayon is probably my favorite fabric to wear in the summer. It can be really lightweight, like in a challis, or a little more substantial, like a twill, but it is always drapey and flowy and breathable and soft. I absolutely love wearing rayon pretty much year round, but in the summer, it's my top, definitely my top. The pros to a rayon is the drapiness. So here's a challis from my stash. So you'll see when I grab just one thickness of the fabric, it's very, very drapey. It just flops when I let it go. So this is perfect for, you know, flowy tops. And it is drapey, it is breathable, and it is soft. So those are all pros. Also, you can find incredibly beautiful colors in rayon, some prints in rayon, and it is not as expensive typically than a really high quality linen. So yeah, definitely a good list of pros to sew with rayon. The cons is that because it's so lightweight and drapey, it's a little difficult to sew with. So there are some things you can do with rayon to make it a little easier to handle. So you can use spray starch, you can, or you should definitely stay stitch all cuts that are on the bias so they don't stretch out. And using a brand new Microtex needle also, you know, can't hurt to avoid some snagging, because rayon does tend to, especially rayon twills, do tend to snag a little bit when you sew with them. Another con that I've noticed based on my personal experience is that rayon shrinks a lot, and it shrinks even after you've made the garment. So I always wash my fabrics in warm water. I don't use hot water to wash my fabrics, but warm water, and then I dry them on pretty high heat in the dryer. I try to get all the shrinkage out in the pre-wash stage, but I have found that even with doing that, my garments shrink every time well, not every time, but at least once or twice after I've made them. I've had to donate some beautiful blouses from my closet because they had shrunk to a point where like my arms weren't moving comfortably anymore, and they were a little bit shorter than what I wanted them to be. So keep that in mind. It might be worth, I know this sounds ridiculous, but if you're going to be sewing with a beautiful rayon that you really want to use for a while, then maybe pre-wash it twice. The other thing that I find, or the other con that I find with rayon, is that it is not, definitely not as durable as linen is. So most of the garments I've made for rayon, even though after making them, I'm careful not to put them in a dryer. I wash all my clothes on a delicate cycle. I try not to wash all my clothes after just one wear. But even then, after a couple of years of wearing a rayon garment, it starts to look not so polished anymore. The colors fade. If you weren't super careful with finishing your seams or covering any raw edges, it frays like crazy, and yeah, so not as durable as linen. Rayon is best for flowy dresses and skirts, flowy blouses, flowy palazzo type pants. Fabulous for that. Some pattern suggestions: I have made the Avenir jumpsuit in a rayon twill for my Christmas outfit this year, and I loved wearing that jumpsuit. It is so comfortable, and because it's a more substantial rayon, it's a twill, perfectly okay for winter, but it is still very breathable and very lightweight. So yeah, Avenir jumpsuit in a rayon, highly recommend. The Be Mine balloon sleeve top by Pattern Emporium would be stunning in a rayon. I've made two, and I used a cotton fabric for my two, and although they look very nice, I kind of regretted using such a structured fabric for them. In a rayon, that blouse would be stunning. And then the Remy Raglan in a rayon is absolutely fabulous. I have one of them, two of them in my closet right now that I still wear, I love, and I've made them a couple of years ago now. So yeah, nice, oversized, relaxed fit garments are perfect for a rayon. Next on my list is a blend of the first two fabrics. So a linen rayon or linen viscose. So basically it marries the best of both fabrics. It is soft, it is drapey, but it is a little more structured thanks to the linen. And depending on the percentage of viscose versus linen in your fabric, you're either going to get a little bit more structure or a little bit more drape. Yeah, so have a look at the percentage before you buy any linen rayon blends. So here is one from my stash, and you can see there's a little bit of structure, a little bit of texture thanks to the linen, but it is very, very drapey. Again, it's kind of floppy thanks to the rayon. This is fabulous fabric to wear. It is a little more challenging to sew with, and I'm going to talk to you about that during the cons portion, but it is fabulous fabric to wear. The pros, again, it is soft, it is breathable, and it is like what's the word? It reduces the wrinkles you would get on your fabric. So for some strange reason, adding rayon to linen makes it not wrinkle so much. So it's a great fabric to take on a vacation where you're going to be living out of a suitcase for a while. So yeah, it's just the very best of the linen and the very best of the rayon in one fabric. The cons, sometimes it tends to stretch in strange ways as you sew with it. So you have to be really careful again with pieces cut on the bias. So stay stitching is a must. It's heavy fabric, so it's definitely not lightweight like a rayon, and it's not lightweight like a linen can be. It's heavy fabric. So if you make wide leg pants, for example, at the end of the day, they will be longer on you than they were at the start of the day. If you make a maxi skirt with this fabric, same thing. A skirt that's gonna be right at your feet or on top of your foot when you put it on in the morning, maybe dragging on the floor by the end of the day. This has been my personal experience sewing and wearing garments made from rayon linen blends. So yeah, just keep that in mind. It tends to stretch a little bit. So where linen tends to sag and wrinkle, and then rayon just wrinkles throughout the day. Linen rayon tends to stretch because of the heaviness of the fabric. Obviously, this would not be an issue if you just made a top with it. So I'm just talking for like wide leg trousers, maxi skirts, maxi dresses. So any garment with a lot of the fabric is just going to be heavier. That being said, it is fabulous for flowy pants and flowy skirts and dresses, and probably would work well for a more relaxed camp collar style blouse. I made the Gilbert shirt and the Winslow culottes out of a linen rayon blend to go to Greece again last summer, and it was a fabulous set to wear. It was breathable, it was lightweight, it was soft, and it looked really, really cute. So yeah, culottes, a more relaxed button-up shirt would be perfect garment types to make with this fabric. I've got the Bennett pants pattern by Stylark, which are not super wide leg. They are a straight leg pants. I would love to make those with a linen rayon blend. I made the West blouse by Seamwork recently in a rayon. I think that would be the perfect candidate for a linen rayon blend. And another one that would be super fun is the Tempo dress by Love Notions with the shirring on the back. If you made it with the shorter skirt, not that much weight would be added to it, and I think it would be the perfect fabric so your skirt could be nice and flowy. So that is the linen rayon blend fabric. Number 4 is a cotton lawn. Now, if you've been around my channel for a while, you know that I typically do not enjoy wearing cotton. For me, it's a little bit too stiff, and it's more from a style perspective. I just don't like how my garments look on me when they're made from cotton. It does feel very nice to wear though. I mean, cotton is breathable, and your garments will stand away from your body depending on the pattern you choose. So it's not as floppy as rayon. So cotton lawn is a very good choice for summer garments. Cotton lawn is a lightweight cotton. It is crisp. This is a lightweight cotton lawn that I got from Blackbird Fabrics, I believe. So it is lightweight, but you'll see that although it flops a little bit, it does, see, it does stick out. So it is a structured fabric. Also, a lot of them are so lightweight that they're a little bit sheer. You can see my light through here, so definitely something to keep in mind. So the pros, again, they're lightweight. Depending on the garment you make with a cotton lawn, you know, like collars on shirts will be nice and crisp. Button bands look really, really nice in a cotton. And a cotton lawn is easy to sew. It does what you tell it to do. It presses so nice. A cotton lawn is probably the most perfect fabric for a beginner to get started with and still get really, really good results because it's so easy to handle. In terms of cons, like we showed, it's a little less drapey, and it can be a bit sheer. So it's lightweight, so it's going to feel amazing and it's going to be breathable. But if you're going to have to wear a cami underneath it and it's 40 degrees outside, kind of defeats the purpose of making a lightweight garment. So something to keep in mind if you're buying cotton lawn that is a bit sheer and you want to make a dress with it, you might need to line it. So adding a layer to your dress, not making it as cool as maybe you were hoping it would be. So cotton lawn is best for blouses or button-up shirts where the crispness of the cotton is really going to put all of the details, yeah, they're really going to shine. Shirt dresses, structured skirts like a pencil skirt, and pajamas, like summer season pajamas in a cotton lawn. Oh my goodness, amazing. Some pattern suggestions. My personal favorite button-up shirt is the Vernon shirt by Cashmerette. Absolutely love that shirt pattern. I have made it in a cotton. It's not a lawn, but it's a cotton. And yeah, it's one of my only cotton garments that I really enjoy wearing. Yeah, it's a nice one. The Ladera dress by Itch to Stitch. I made that dress from a cotton sateen that was very lightweight. It was almost the same weight as a lawn. Yeah, I think it would really work if your cotton lawn is opaque enough to be worn as a dress. And then of course the Carolyn pajamas from Closet Core Patterns. I think those have been around for a while. A lot of people have made them, but how cute would they be as a short set in a beautiful cotton lawn? So this blouse, and I'm going to put a picture here, this blouse I made last summer is the Pattern Emporium Be Mine balloon sleeve blouse, and I made it in a Liberty Lawn fabric that I got in one of the Think Pink boxes, and I love how the sleeves look in this fabric. Because it's not floppy and super drapey, you can really see the shape of those sleeves. But that is one of the garments that I gave away because the rest of the blouse is just too stiff for my liking. So it gives you a good idea though of the structure of a cotton lawn and how an oversized or more relaxed fit blouse would look with that extra structure. So that is cotton lawn. And finally, number 5 is double gauze. Now, I only have one garment made out of double gauze, and I don't have any double gauze in my stash because I don't like sewing with it. And that's going to be one of the cons. But double gauze is a fabulous fabric to wear. So this is a Remy raglan that I made a couple of years ago now. This is a fabric we got in a Think Pink box. It's got a beautiful texture, and double gauze is basically 2 layers of very, very lightweight cotton fabric that is stitched together to make this super airy, lightweight, soft, comfortable fabric. Yeah, this is a fabulous thing to wear. The thing with double gauze, and it's a little bit magical, is that in hot weather, this will keep you cool, and in cold weather, it will keep you warm. So I don't know what kind of magic that is, but yeah, I wore this on probably one of the hottest days I've ever experienced in my life in Athens to climb the Acropolis. And it was hot. Every other part of me was very, very hot, but this did not make me sweat. It did not cling to me. It was the perfect garment to wear on that hot day. So yeah, it is soft, it is breathable, it's got really fun texture. Yeah, the cons for me is that it's a challenge to sew with. I did not enjoy sewing with this at all. If you press it really, really flat and then cut your fabric, the first time you wash it, your garment's going to be too small for you. You'll need to press the life out of it to be able to put it on. So it's just a bit of a pain to sew with and to manage during the whole sewing process. Also, it's really incredibly difficult to get very precise in your sewing. So this little button loop here was a nightmare to sew. The facing, actually this is not even a facing for the keyhole. I just had to turn under a hem. It was incredibly fiddly. Hemming this top was fiddly. So it's just not something that I enjoyed sewing with. So that's the biggest con for me. It does fray, so you have to make sure that you finish your seam allowances well. So I used bias binding to finish this neckline, and I used French seams on the shoulder seams here. So some garment suggestions for double gauze. So loose tops, unstructured, relaxed type tops, woven t-shirts, pajamas, a summer robe would be really nice. So fabric suggestions for me, my top two would be the Ligan robe by Cashmerette, or any robe pattern, and the Montrose top by Cashmerette, or any woven t-shirt that doesn't have that many seams, aren't many details, and yeah, just a very straightforward sew. Yeah, that is double gauze. All right, so this video is turning out to be a little bit longer than I had expected, so I'm going to try and wrap it up real quick. But before I do, here's a bonus fabric for summer sewing, and that is a cotton chambray. So I made, this is a Vernon shirt that I made last year, and as a topper, this shirt is fabulous for summer. Because it's cotton, because it's a lightweight chambray, it's breathable, it's comfortable. But I wore this on top of my bathing suit some days to go on cruises or to go to the beach. It protected me from the sun, but I wasn't hot wearing it at all. And it's just a really nice neutral. So a chambray looks like denim. It goes with everything. I wore this shirt to death last year, and I know I'm going to wear it again all summer. So definitely worth looking into a cotton chambray to make a layering piece, or some, again, woven t-shirt, woven shorts, some pants. Highly recommend cotton chambray. And you can obviously get it in this denim color, but I have seen chambray in pinks and yellows and greens, and you can get a bunch of fun summer colors in this fabric as well. So there you have it, 5 or 6 amazing fabrics to sew with in the summer to stay cool and not really sweat and just stay comfortable. Would love to know which one of those is your favorite, or if you have more suggestions for fabric to sew with, during the warmer months, please put those in the comments below. Thank you so much for sticking around and watching the video. Please give it a thumbs up on your way out if you liked it, and consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks again, and I will see you soon.